You are now tuned in to another episode of Let the Brotha Speak, where the real recognize real and we don't bite our tongues for nobody. I'm your host, Big C, rocking with my day ones, brother AppleJuce, brother Mike Wells. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
But today, oh yeah, we leveling it up. We got a special guest in the house, the sharp, the savvy, the always on point Lola Wilson, here to help us break down all the smoke around Shedeur Sanders in this NFL draft game. Is he ready? Are they ready for him? You already know we're about to unpack it all. No chaser. Before we get started, though, make sure you like, subscribe, and tap in. Because when the brothers and the sister are speaking, you already know it's going to be something worth hearing. So let's cook.
Welcome to the show. Cartoons Radio. Coming at you live.
All right, here we go. What's going on, fellas? We are back, and we got a lot to unpack today, don't we?
Yes, sir.
There's a lot happening, and we got Miss Lola with us today. How you doing, lady?
I'm wonderful. A little disturbed, but I'm wonderful.
Okay. Well, we gonna get into that. We gonna get into it. All right. So what's been going on with you guys? How was your week, man?
My week was actually pretty good, kind of busy, doing a little extra working, but, good week.
Good week. Okay.
My week was pretty good as well. Got email I've been looking for. Got my IRB approved for my research, and so I'll be able to move forward with researching some teachers and things of that nature. So very ecstatic for that particular moment, another milestone in my doctoral program. So pretty good week. Wife and kids doing pretty good as well. That's always good. So yeah, great week.
Okay. Well, I've been okay. It's been a long week. It's my third week back to work. So, but it's gotten easier. It's gotten much easier. So I'm good. It's basically like I never missed a beat. So yeah. But other than that, me and the wife, we good, and everything is copacetic, and yeah, life goes on. We just waiting to get some of these trips going now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
yeah, it's about that time.
It's travel season now.
Everybody need a vacation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, what we getting into today? What we got? So we got. Let's just jump right into it, because I know, man. Look, everybody saw it the last couple of days. A couple of days ago, the draft, and everybody was watching for your boy. And round one went through. Nothing. Round two go through. Nothing. Round three go through. Nothing.
Nate Newton.
So what's going on with your boy Shedeur? How come did nobody, that should have been like one of the, he should have been in the first round.
He should have been at least in the top three.
Why you say that?
He ultimately, you look at his accolades, you look at his overall intelligence, his field presence. He's a really good quarterback, and I just think that they put him under a microscope for anything and everything they could find wrong with him, and instead of saying, okay, this is an athlete. People should feel confident in themselves, and they tried to find everything they could wrong with him, even though there probably wasn't much wrong with him other than he was Coach Prime's son.
Very true. I think it reminds us how far the Black quarterback has come.
Yes,
but how much more we have to go. Like, that doesn't really sit well. I mean, Cam being the number one draft pick for Miami, it made sense. He's a great quarterback. But when the Steelers came up for me, they don't have a quarterback.
Exactly.
And you drafted a defensive tackle. I read the story. My condolences to the young man's mom who's passed away. But in that moment, it did not make sense. It just didn't make sense. And then for even New York, only thing I can get, Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders they are similar. The
Mhm.
only difference is Jackson played in a more competitive conference, which was the SEC, and I can only give him that.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, because you couldn't really do that, they really wanted Jackson to be something they needed him to be to save the legacy of the white quarterback. Here we are. But it's the end, and to draft Shedeur after Dylan from Oregon was insulting. It was like, put this, I don't know if we can say the N-word, put this N-word, just pick this N-word up. Like, just pick him up. There was no, to me, I felt like the draft was like putting us in our place, checking us, making us feel like,
Absolutely.
understand this is like, know your place.
And that's what I was irritated with, because when I heard that an assistant head coach called him
Anonymously.
anonymously,
We don't know him.
Called him arrogant. It was the worst interview that he had ever had. And I'm sitting there going, there's a difference between confidence. Maybe Shedeur is confident in what he can do and probably provide to a team, compared to him being arrogant. And the only thing I could see that they called him arrogant is because, hey, look at the skin color, and he don't match the stereotypical quarterback.
His skin color, and then who he comes from. Because let's be very clear, people are not talking about the fact that when Shedeur was in high school, he committed to a D1 school. Was it FAU, Florida Atlantic, I think it was. And so, but the sacrifices, and I have to give Deion Sanders a lot of respect, because I don't even know if I were a parent, I don't have children, I could say I would have. This man sought out he knew the talent of his son and had to create a space for us to see it, because we were not checking for Florida Atlantic, even though it's a Division I school. So you have this space, and you create a space for your son, because you know your child, and not from Jackson to Colorado. And he is exactly what we would have completely missed if it was done any other way. And I think that is the problem. Like, who do you think you are to show up? Like, the arrogance is not arrogance. It's more so like, who do you think you are? Because if they don't make us, then we're not made. And they need to feel comfortable with their own internal guilt of their own, I think, subconscious racial biases. And that's shown up in this.
And I mean, it goes all the way back to when Warren Moon was a quarterback. They did not think he was a quarterback. They tried to even turn Lamar Jackson into a receiver. You know, but this man has made more records recently than any other quarterback.
MVP.
2-time MVP. Should have been 3. But
We know that that's why he didn't, because Josh had they won that game, we would have been looked like a 3-time MVP player.
I'll say this as well. I'm an alum of Jackson State University, right? And so when Deion and his boys came, and then of course Travis came as well, there was a lot of big to-do hype, things of that nature. And it's one thing to do it on that level, right? Which is, like you said, it's a D1 school, but that's one level. But then you take it to Colorado, and then I said, well, I haven't seen these guys up close and personal. So I go to the first game they played against TCU, Colorado, right? And they go in there, and they, of course, the defense wasn't what it was supposed to be, but they go in there and go blow for blow with them, right? And the one thing I always said about him, my uncle said, Oliver said, that man can throw the ball, right? And that's what the quarterback position is, like being able to throw the ball. And playing quarterback in high school, which of course that's not on that level, but you have to be able to spin the ball, right? And he can put the ball on in any position, any place. And what I understand is, I may be quoting this inaccurately, but I understand he has one of the highest completion percentages for any college quarterback ever in the history, or 71%.
Of that school.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I think it is the school.
so when you look at it from that perspective, right? We're looking at being able to make completions to our receivers, also being able to run your team, and I think he does that at a high level,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Taking a team that was winning one game,
Mhm.
and then they won 5, I think the first year, then 9 the next year.
Mhm.
I mean, that is a tremendous feat for an organization that was historically for like the last 10 years losing, right?
2 decades.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so when you look at it from their perspective, I most definitely did think a 5th round pick was necessitated for him.
It was
Right.
definitely orchestrated, yeah.
Yeah. And then also, which we probably hadn't hit on this a little bit, my personal opinion, I think, is more about Dion than him. That's just my
Interesting.
perspective of
Okay.
that. Right. Since we're not able to put you in your place on certain things,
Mhm.
things of that nature, let's go after the next thing, if that makes sense, and
Mhm.
which adjacent to you is your son, right? And so now that we're in a position where I guess you would say you're at the mercy of the court,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so therefore we're gonna make this look like we need to make it look like, right? But I'm sure like their family and things of that nature are still celebrating it, still thanking God. I know they're big people of faith and things of that nature as well. And so what I would say, you know, all of us, in my opinion, some point in our life have felt like we've been done wrong.
Mhm.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
And so when you get that, the question is, are you going to wallow in it,
Mhm.
or are you going to get up and seize the opportunity?
And that's why I said, and of course you see I'm wearing my Raven stuff, but you know,
they
and
need a quarterback.
I'm like, you know, I'm glad that he got to an organization. I would like to actually see him do well, even though that's a division rival. Now, of course, the Browns are horrible with the treatment of their quarterbacks or the usage of their quarterbacks. And I really hope that he does well. I really do, you know, because I want him to show up the establishment that you looked over me for so long. And that's, as a Ravens fan, I would not say that about the Steelers, the Browns, or the Bengals.
And they play y'all twice.
And that's what I said. I would
Division
never, but I
rival.
really want to
Right.
see Shedeur
do well.
do his thing. I want him to Lamar Jackson.
I think culturally, because like it's pressure, but no pressure. Like culturally, when things like this happen
Yeah.
in our culture, it is more than just you.
Mhm.
It is more than just what happened to you. It happened to us.
Yeah.
You know, even when Lamar Jackson goes last in the first round, it was like, you better get in here and show up. Like pressure, no pressure. I do have a question though. I don't have children, but as fathers, how do you feel about basically, it's kind of like a crucifixion, not a crucifixion, but it's kind of like he is taking the punishment or
for his father's sins.
for his father's sins. And the thing is, even though we know that Dion did right by his son,
Absolutely.
as fathers, how do you think in your children's lives, how do you think that, because I'm a pastor's daughter, and my dad is you know, he's not as big as Dion, obviously, but I do think sometimes growing up, I would think that because of whose child I was, there was some backlash sometimes. But how do you I mean, like, not an apology owed, I'm really trying to clearly articulate this question, but more so, is that more of a burden of the father, knowing that even though he's done his best and given his best to his children, only for them to have to sacrifice this type of experience in the public eye?
My thought is this: what Dion did, you know, flashy, whatever. That's him.
Okay.
You know, my thought is this: Shedeur is a different person. He's a
Mhm.
different human being. You know,
Mhm.
what Dion did is not going to get Shedeur into heaven or into hell, is
Okay.
what Shedeur
Right,
did.
that's true. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I applaud the fact that Dion poured everything that he could into his son to try to make him the best and get him into that position to get there.
Mhm.
Because ultimately, the NFL is sort of as a fraternity.
Mhm.
Normally, if one person can get in, the child will be normally next.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. They will at least give them a
Yeah,
try,
yeah,
you know.
But that's I think that's in any space. If
No
that
one's
makes
gonna
sense.
ask me to preach, I promise.
I think that's in any space where you look at business. I think the people have succession plans for their kids and things of that nature. You look at LeBron, right, with his kid and things of that nature. Like people have those succession plans. But to speak more specifically about your question, I think when as a father and your kids, and then let's say you play a big role in the community, things of that nature. There's always pros and cons with that. So for this particular case, Shedeur has reaped the benefit of his dad's knowledge, reached the benefit of his dad putting him in that space, right? Things of that nature, reached all those benefits. Now, the con with it in this case, which I don't necessarily see it as a con, is that the fraternity that we were speaking about wanted to go a different way, if that makes sense. In an effort, in my opinion, to say something to Dion, in my opinion, right? However, I go back to the point that you still have this opportunity at this particular point, right? And so a lot of times in our community, we make a big fuss of things, and I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. But as you all already know, what is our plan going forward? Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to work ourselves out of that? And I think this kid got that type of character, if that makes sense, right? Because of his father. See, again, he's benefiting from that again, right?
Right.
Because of the work ethic, right? Even though I'm super talented, over talented, that doesn't mean that I'm not working as well. I'm going to be out here the first one working. I'm going to be on that plane. He probably going to beat the other Dylan there, right? He's going to beat him there. He's going to pick up that book and get to work, because what you cannot deny in sports is that if the person that you playing against in your position is better than you, they're going to play you, right? That's what I love about sports, right?
Yeah.
When you get a chance to compete, right? The competition brings out either the dog in you or you decrease, right? I love the way
Or the duck.
Yeah, I like that. The dog or the duck. I like that. I forget his name, but the Cowboys picked a player last night. He said at number 12, Tyler, he said he was talking to Michael. It was like, man, what's going on with you? What do you like about this game? He said, man, I love, people talking about they love this game and things of that nature. And he said, man, they love it, things of that nature. And then they get out there and they start playing and they run into me. And he said, I love seeing that love go away from their eyes, right? And I'm competing, right? And Michael Parsons, I'm like, yes, come on, let's go right now. I'm ready to go in the fight with this dude. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, when you get a chance to compete, right? You may not win every day, but you just continue to compete, do the same thing over and over again, right? And that capacity is built through that repetition all the time. Keep going, right? And so I'm rooting for the guy. I'm rooting for him. I've been a big Dion fan. I'm still rooting for him as well. I don't think he's did anything incorrect, but at the same time, I just know that my perception is not everybody else's perception. And so therefore you're entitled to that. And you're also entitled to where you picked him at, but you're not entitled to when he put
what he put out
on the field.
And and it's so interesting that you say that, because at the end of the day, in looking at the draft and in seeing it unfold, one thing that I just kept going in my mind is Archie Manning told the NFL, my son is not going to the Chargers. We never said a mumbling word. We let that young man get up there and be drafted by the New York Giants. He is now retired with 2 Super Bowl rings, and Archie Manning and the Mannings are doing the same thing with baby Archie at Texas. And we still haven't said anything. And so it's like the same formula, the same strategy is done just with a group of people that just don't look like you.
Mhm.
And we have a problem with that. Collectively, America has the NFL has a problem with the fact that, and it goes back to me, it's like, who do you think you are? Because at the end of the day, this is not something that has not been done before.
Yeah.
Of course, Deion Sanders, he knows in and out. He's a Hall of Famer. He is part of the fraternity. So no, he does not want his son going to,
Absolutely.
somewhere where he cannot be successful. Because let's be very clear. At the end of the day, you only know how good someone is based on the weapons they have when it comes to football. This is a real team sport. This is not about scoring 30 points. The only way the wide receiver is as good as he is if the quarterback can throw him the ball.
Exactly.
The only way the running back is as good as he is if the offensive line can protect him and the quarterback can get him the ball. Everybody has a role to play.
Exactly.
And so if this is how this game is worked, and everyone knows that, what was the problem?
Well, Raheem Devon has a song with a guy named B-Boy Soul.
Okay.
And the song is called NFL.
Not for long.
The N is
okay. I
for
got
life.
You. Okay.
And it's basically talking about somewhat of Colin Kaepernick's situation of the NFL. But that's the way America looks at us. We the NFL. So it doesn't matter where you are.
You still
what you the NFL.
Yeah.
Yo NFL. You are okay. Yes. I like that.
I'll say this, and my perspective is, I like to try to give a different perspective all the time, but my perspective would be this: is that while these things have continued to happen and things of that nature, at the end of the day, we don't have to accept the invitation.
Exactly.
No, we don't.
We don't have to accept the invitation. So what does it say about us to want to keep being accepted to an establishment that treats us unfairly or unjust per us saying so, right? Because it's almost like the little kid syndrome that I just want to be accepted, right? I want to also make my $1 million, right?
That's the main reason, because they supply deep pockets,
right? Yeah, but
fast and early,
right? Fast and early. But you mentioned this a little bit earlier, off camera a little bit. The professional athlete is probably 60% of them are not financially wise with the decisions that they're making while they're actually playing, and then thereafter, right?
Just using NFL, 80% of NFL players go bankrupt within 5 years of the time they retire. Baseball players and basketball players with guaranteed contracts, it's normally about 60% of those. But it goes with anybody, because if you go to lottery winners, large pocket lottery winners, jackpot winners, those are normally within 10 years of them winning that jackpot, they go bankrupt. So it's a lack of financial education that we have as a country in total. But it's sad to see that they have rookie symposiums every year.
Okay.
And every year somebody's retiring, and then 5 years down the road, you're seeing that they're broke.
Right.
And that's
I just got a question. Do they have like mandatory, like something like 401ks or something like that?
Yeah.
Now,
so, but I'm gonna tell you how that's set up.
Okay.
So, I have worked the rookie symposium for the NBA before, and I did the signing. So, basically, in a rookie symposium, the league is still picking and dictating who you should do business with, because at a symposium, your mama can't be there, your manager can't be there, your girlfriend can't. The only person that's there is me in the league, and I'm there because I got to make sure you sign all this paperwork or sign all this autograph stuff or whatever the case may be. So you're only there with the league and who they have selected to be in the presence and to guide you, mentor you, advise you, and give you direction. So this should be a safe space. This should be a trusted space. And so if I am the owner or if I'm the commissioner of an organization and I determine who comes in, that determines a lot of your decision.
Yeah.
And so there's still a lot of control there.
Mhm.
Then on top of that, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. There's a lot of psychological discourse within ourselves, culturally, collectively. So we are the only culture that says, hey, it's, you know, do your best, get out the hood, go be great, blah, blah. So when we're talking about get out the hood, leave the hood, everything, that means everything that reminds us of the hood. The kids love their mama and they love their daddy, but they trust somebody that don't look like their mama and don't look like their daddy. Because we have decided that there is more for you to do outside.
Well, it's better. It's better.
Yeah, it's
That's what
better.
you're essentially saying.
White is right and black is whack in some spaces when it comes to our lives. And that's just this cultural subconscious thing that continues to replay, that we are not even aware that's replaying with us or them. And I see it all the time. So yeah, at the symposium, they're checking boxes. You can't say I didn't tell you about a 401k.
Yep.
You can't say I didn't give you a financial advisor. You didn't say I didn't teach you the Lord's Prayer. At the end of the day, it's on you.
Yeah.
So those things are taking place, but the question is, and then it's the exception to the rule. Everyone thinks everyone is an exception to the rule until they're not.
Yep. Like Mike Tyson said, everybody got to play until you get punched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like Tyler said, everybody love the game till they meet him.
Yeah.
So till you have to meet these things, this is what happens. And that's where it really gets tricky and gets, but here again, back to Shedeur, he had all the necessary tools. He didn't have to run away from the hood. He didn't grow up in the hood. This is a kid they did not have to save. And one thing about non-Black people is they love to save us until they can't. It's a problem. So now you can't feel good about the guilt you have based on the things you've done before saving us. This is why I have a problem when kids, especially, you know, very talented athletic kids, are adopted. Everybody saw The Blind Side. And we know we are fully aware of what that story is. And when they cannot orchestrate a story like that, because the whole thing was they are here to save us from ourselves. And when we say no, thank you, we're good, it's a problem.
They feelings get hurt.
It feels good. And so,
all right, check it out. Before we get out of here, we gotta talk about
I'm here for it. I can dig it.
I mean, come on. What was he thinking? And you know what? Today, you know, I saw something funny today. There was an episode that he had Donnell Rawlings on there on Club Shay Shay. And Donnell was talking about he went for the daughter instead of the mama. And he was like, come on, Donnie, you could have went for the mama. I mean, you like them young, don't you? And I'm like, if that ain't the pot calling the kettle black.
But here's the thing. The thing about Shannon Sharpe is, and I'm a woman saying this, Shannon Sharpe, he's not, he ain't who we checking for. Like, he's not an attractive guy like that. But he does have attractive things, i.e. money. And so to be honest, he's the old dude in the club, still making sure he still got it, whatever that may be. At the end of the day, his lifestyle and who he likes, does that warrant him now? Absolutely. But I mean, nobody was checking for him before. Like, and we're still not really checking for him. Like, I'm 44 and I'm not dating Shannon Sharpe. And I mean, that's just the truth. Now, at the end of the day, he likes what he likes based on the fact that that's not what he could get when he wanted it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe it's just me, but I gotta quote my boy Umar and tell brother, stop swimming in the milk.
Oh, he should. I mean, hey, we ain't met a white girl that ain't got nobody in trouble yet, and you still want to. I mean, if you want to drink milk, it does not do your body good or your pocket.
I mean, apparently he's never seen Get Out.
Clearly. I mean, and here again, you're an exception to the rule until you're not, because this ain't his first time. I mean, it was just a little over 6 months ago. We don't know who girl was that he accidentally taped with, and I mean, I think he does kind of like that attention based on the fact that, I mean, he's still trying to. He's the old dude in the club, and you can't tell me different.
No.
Yeah, and I guess we're all gonna stay away from it. I mean, now, do I feel with all the lawsuits and stuff? I honestly feel like this was a consensual situation and no crime, because this is a civil suit. This is not a criminal suit. And so at the end of the day, because it's a civil suit, it's about money. You're accusing him of a crime, and if he's committed a crime, you should file a criminal suit, because at the end of the day, you asked for him to put a baby in you, whatever baby that was, twice. You also sent text messages that participated in sexting with what he had going on. So this is something you really were invested in until it wasn't paying what you expected it to pay. And I do understand that there was, and as a sports publicist, here's the thing, I'm not surprised that there was a mediation and there was a deal on the table.
Yeah.
Because because here's the thing, he needed her. She's dead weight. He needed to get rid of her. It wasn't he did something wrong. And so Tony, the attorney that is 0 for 5 with black men, comes and says, hey, you can get more money for what? Because now we know about the sex tape. We know about the sex tape. You want to put out a 30-second tape. He's telling you to put out a 10-minute. You definitely don't want to put out that 10-minute tape, because now it's really not going to get her any money. What she should have done was got that and walked away, because this is what she wanted in the end. Someone already told her it's Shannon Sharpe. She Googled, she got with it. And I know she was 19, but even as a woman, it was very clear that at 19, she was okay with this 56-year-old man based on what he could bring to the table. Period. I don't want to hear nothing else about, is he a dirty old man? Sure. But we don't even know if she told him her real age. And I'm not defending him. These are facts. And the one thing that keeps frustrating me, even as a black woman and a single woman and a woman, is there are real live people out here getting sexually assaulted, being raped. Like these crimes are really being committed. And you are utilizing them for your own professional, financial, and public gain. And none of these things happened to you because you were the one asking, why weren't you calling me back? Not him. So,
Is that like in a text or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, them texts got real.
Mhm.
I don't want to see the video. There are boundaries. I don't want to see nobody that old get down with. But I mean, Shannon Sharpe did it. Now they say, because I know people are talking about him and ESPN and what's going on with that. But like, really, a crime is not being committed. Now, his lifestyle has cost him a job because it's a distraction.
Yeah.
Right. And plus two, who owns ESPN?
Disney.
And Disney want that. They want you to have that wholesome, that wholesome image.
Yeah.
So of course they gonna.
And I think there are, older men who like younger women. I don't even think that's the issue. I just think that the real issue is in this world, there are two types of people: assets and liabilities. And when somebody ain't got nothing to lose and everything to gain, because the same thing that happened with the basketball player, Anthony, that got the baby by the baby mama, who's a rapper's baby mama. She ain't got nothing to lose. And everything to gain. When people ain't got nothing to lose and everything to gain, you might want to leave them alone. I don't have a whole lot, but I definitely am going to think twice about filing a lawsuit about some stuff I consensually participated in.
Right.
Because I don't want to lose that. Because now when you start looking for a job, because my whole thing about women who do this, and I'm being a woman thing, when you start looking for a job, this stuff comes up. And now you are a distraction.
Yeah.
And now you want to know why won't nobody give you a fair chance. You got a whole life to live. And you got a lot of decisions to make that can stick with you for a long time. And that's the real conversation.
Well, if she'd have had that, if she was able to get that 50 million, she wouldn't have had to make that decision.
If she got that 10 million and tried to make, and it kept doing OnlyFans, she wouldn't have to do this. Like, she's not clear. And this is what makes, to me, and this is gonna sound real shallow, this is what makes her young. I would have got that 10 million, got back on OnlyFans, and been out. Because I need to keep the paper coming. Because I know, she don't have a financial advisor, clearly. So, Shannon Sharpe doing Shannon. Yeah. He always said he liked them young. And then he said he wanted to date somebody who his wage. Yeah, everybody's telling him to date his age. He wanted, but the women that are comparable to his wage are his age. So I don't really know what they're.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap that up for today's convo on Let the Brotha Speak.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Big salute to our special guest, Lola Wilson, for bringing that real, that insight, that energy to the table. Today we got deep into Shedeur Sanders, broke down the draft noise, and we couldn't let it slide without showing love. A little side at Uncle Shannon Sharpe too.
He should definitely date his age.
Well, the game's changing. So are the conversations, and you already know we gonna keep speaking on it. Much love to y'all for rocking with us. Brother AppleJuce, Brother Mike Wells. Appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend, tap in. Because the conversation don't stop when the mic's cut off. And always remember, everybody want to eat. Not everybody gonna cook. Stay hungry, stay humble, and stay speaking. Till next time, we out.
Let the brother speak.